Greetings, beloved listeners. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning. And in a short while from now, I will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. You can also go to our social media pages and follow the program. Just look for the Street 919 FM. So, beloved family, we are halfway through the second month of 2025, when it literally feels like just the other day it was 2021. But here we are on this beautiful Saturday morning in Trinidad and Tobago, Saturday, February 15th. We are also just about 2 weeks away from the holy month of Ramadan, which is scheduled to take up just about the entire month of March. So the entire month of March 2025 would be fasting, the Muslims observing the fast for the holy month of Ramadan, and as is the case, more and more and more every single year. More and more non-Muslims, health enthusiasts, other interested persons also beginning to fast for the holy month of Ramadan. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up the telephone lines right away, because I know it's been a little while since we've had a live conversation. So I'm opening up the telephone lines for the first hour. And then in the second hour, we're going to talk about something called critical race theory. Now, as you will know, this is making waves all over the world. And before I get into that, let me let you know about tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, Sunday, February 16th, 2025, at the Kwame Ture Center, from 11 o'clock, I will be delivering a lecture entitled The Economics of African Culture. Who is making the money off our talent? This wisdom is more crucial for us to hear now than ever before. Beloved, I want you to think. African people are placed in positions, whether it's with our culture, our entertainment, our intelligence, our accomplishments, our politics, our sports. African people on the landscape of public accomplishments are positioned in such a way for other ethnic groups to reap the reward, the benefit, and the profit. And if you as an African have anything to say about that is against that dynamic, then the spotlight turns back on you as being disruptive, unharmonious, dividing the country, and promoting racism. So in other words, the subtle message is for the African to know his place, accept second, third, or fourth place and second or third or fourth class citizenship when he's superior in intelligence in some fields, way more talented in some fields, better in track record in some fields, but he is mandated to take a back seat while others are allowed to go forward. And because we think like that, we place ourselves in a trap. I was reflecting on recently that a Jamaican reggae dancehall artist, Benny Man, made a statement about doubles. And so many Trinidadians became so passionate, enthusiastic, and zealous in their aggressive response to defend this national food. All right. But I started thinking, what do African people own, control, possess, and direct in Trinidad and Tobago that benefits us, that profits us, that places us in positions of career success and entrepreneurship that we can defend? Or are we African people just there to add props and support to others? I want you to think about this deeply, because I can already hear so many people saying, oh, but that's racism. See what I'm talking about? You being conscious is against the model and design of a social structure that they have designated for this country. Look at it. So, fast forward a couple months from now, based on expectations of a Chinese prime minister, Indian president, Indian opposition leader, white man in charge of University of the West Indies. Meanwhile, all these black children coming up with the highest scores in grades. We have some of the most achieving politicians who worked with Mr. Manning. We have business entrepreneurs who were never given an opportunity through any kind of support through the financial institutions. We have CLICO, destroyed African economic legacy. We have the African Bank being blocked by an African government. We just had tens of thousands of African-owned businesses, small companies, contractors, moved off the registry list. Now, who's dividing the country? Those who are taking positions to sideline major African success, or me who notices it? I have asked the question for years. Do you think an African DJ can become mega successful by playing Chinese music to Chinese people and calling himself DJ African Linens? Does that sound like a formula for success to you? You black man DJ, you're going to call yourself African Linens, and all the music that you're playing is Chinese music, and you go to the Chinese Association, Chinese community, Chinese clubs, and all the music that you're playing is to Chinese people. Does that sound like a formula for success? Hell no, you already know that. So how come then a Chinese man can exclusively play African music to African audiences and call himself Chinese Laundry DJ? Does that sound like a formula for success? Well, how come one does and the other doesn't? Reason is that anyone who can capitalize off the accumulation of African dollars in non-African bank accounts is a formula for success. Anyone who could take African culture, African talent, African music, African sports, African accomplishments, remarket it, package it, represent it, and then make all the money from it, that's a formula for success, because part of the success of this society is the exploitation of the African. Go to the Central Statistical Office and look at their annual statistics for Carnival, and you will see the tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars that is made by tourists coming into this country between January and February every year. And it's the hotels, the transportation companies, the airlines, and the local businesses, the restaurants, and the venue owners that make the hundreds of millions of dollars from Carnival. Meanwhile, the bandmen getting hundreds, a few hundreds here, a few hundreds there. Calypsonians getting a little thousands here and there. The original creative genius of those Africans who were original wire benders and mask makers, getting a few hundreds here and a few thousands there, while those on the outside of the African community who did not have the talent of creativity but had the talent of exploitation are making the hundreds of millions. And then we elect politicians into office to protect it like that and keep it that way. I am calling on us to wake up and think, beloved. So I don't want you to miss this presentation tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock at the Kwame Ture Center. The economics of African culture. Who is making the money off African talent? All right, let me go to the phone lines. Like I said, 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mohammed and Brother Mohammed.
Good morning to you.
And I didn't hear you talk about an issue that has recently surfaced, the pay hikes, the pay increases.
Oh.
For the 900 plus, I think, senior public servants, parliamentarians, and senior public servants. Now, I heard, this is, these are my own words, Mr. Emmett says that we have money to pay.
Of course we do.
The monies for these public officials. But public servants are only allowed to accept 6%.
Only allowed to accept 6%.
Yes, but monies are set aside for the senior public servants to get a pay hike, a pay increase at the end of this month. You know, it's sad, it's unfortunate.
But it's, beloved.
No, the person, in the early times, the minister said we have no money to pay public servants. There was no money.
Well, they have money to pay themselves.
Correct. And the teachers at the University of the West Indies accepted 6%, while public servants have to accept 4%. Where's the disparity?
Beloved, they given themselves, okay, so we talking about 4%, 5% and 6%.
Mm-hmm.
But they are having increases of 40%, 50%, 60%.
And where is the
and expecting
equity?
Peace in the society.
Where's the equity in all of this? Because on one hand, you're telling me that we can only afford 6%, whereas Mr. Embut is saying we can't pay our senior public officials that kind of money. And I find that,
Yeah, it is horrific, beloved.
Very.
It's infuriating, I could imagine.
Yes.
I mean, I just came back into the country last night. Again, I'm moving up and down a lot these days, as we would notice. And one of these days, I'm going to talk about my work overseas.
Yes.
Because Trinidad has become such a peculiar place regarding work, employment, contracts. It's
unfortunate.
It's like if you have talent in this country and you're not of the 1%, if you have talent and accomplishment, you could literally step out of this country for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month, and earn
more money
than you'll make here
Tobago.
in several months.
Yes.
And it's a strange thing
Yes,
that I
it's sad.
hate to talk about my country, but it's so real.
Yes, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absurd.
I earned a PhD from this University of the West Indies. And I love working in Trinidad. I love lecturing in Trinidad, of course. But it seems like it's of a lot more value outside of Trinidad and Tobago.
They were calling for 18%. The tutors and the teachers at the UWE, they were calling for 18%. And they're now settling for 6%.
You know what as well? We cannot forget the police officers.
Correct.
The protective services.
Correct.
Fire officers, the army, the
prison,
Coast Guard,
the
prison officers. I mean, I remember programs that I did on the Black Agenda 15, 20 years ago, talking about the consequences of having societies with crime where you keep jacking up the salaries of politicians and keep the police salaries very low. I remember about 18 years ago on the Black Agenda talking about that it is a formula for oppression. Corrupt politicians keep the salaries of police officers low so that they have an available below table, potentially corrupt, dissatisfied workforce that you can pick and choose out of mercenaries and those to do dirty work.
Anyway,
so it's almost like you
Mr.
keep them poor with a purpose.
And I will listen off the air.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much.
And I will listen off the air.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
And you know what? When I did that, I can still see it today, I had a Newsday newspaper article about increases of salaries for politicians. And it was, if I could find it, you know what? I might be able to find some notes on it. But some salaries went from like $32,000 to $49,000. I think the lowest salary was about $16,000. And it was jacked up to about $28,000. This is more than 20 years ago. And what was so peculiar about that article is that the councillors who probably do much more footwork than the parliamentarians, the councillors' salaries were staying the same. This might have been around 2003. All right, because I remember that the salaries of the councillors, like, how could they raise the MP salaries so much, and the cabinet members and the members of the legislature, and still the people on the ground, you keep their salaries so low. The police officers keep their salaries low. The soldiers keep their salaries low. The prison officers, what do you expect? So it's almost like the society is designed in such a way, keep the police, the army, the prison officers struggling to be able to make ends meet, so that you can now use them to help you in your trafficking of drugs. Oh, beloved, listen, I'll never forget that clip, still have the clip now, of a politician in this country saying, quote, I have a Syrian friend who does be importing cocaine. And I asked him, boy, how you just feel doing this, boy, destroying minds of people? And he said, if he doesn't do it, someone else will do it. Imagine someone running for an election with a statement like that. And I'm telling you, man, more and more signs all the time. Arresting the police commissioner. But Mr. Hadid and other white and Syrian businessmen with all kinds of issues surrounding guns, you can't even touch them. And it's like they dare you as well. You cannot touch us. Caller, good morning. Walaikum salam, my brother. How are you?
It's so nice to communicate with you. I mean, I listen to you all the time, but I know most of the time you're outside. So your lecturers are still be good. I don't even want to go into that salary thing because listen, how many Chinese, Syrian, Caucasian are there in the protective services in the country, protecting that same community? So I don't even want to go into that. But you know what?
I'm sorry, not to cut you, but I heard on the news this morning a statement from the Prime Minister, which honestly I thought it was an awkward statement. I thought it was what you can describe as a redundant statement, because the Prime Minister is saying that East Indians have nothing to fear. Is it necessary to say that? We already know that East Indians have nothing. It's Africans who have something to fear, not East Indians. East Indians have nothing to fear. Oh, man.
As I tell somebody there, this is what this is me. I'm personally, I'm sad to know that I am still on this side of the earth to see what is going on with the African community, my brother David. It hurts me inside. You wouldn't believe. And I see that my people, we are going down, brother David, and getting worse. And you know, it seems it's a pattern. You spoke just now about the music.
Yeah.
I spoke of that so many times. They use our music to encourage us and influence us to come into
sell more of their alcohol, to smoke more of their marijuana that they are importing and chemicalizing, to take more of the cocaine that they are bringing in.
Yes, and they still say they have us in our ignorance stating that, you know, African people lazy. African people, we don't like to work. But if we don't work, their business fall, you know.
Yeah, but we are lazy. We are the ones who are lazy, yeah?
We are the ones who have their business falling, but
we are working hard for millions and millions. It's just that we're not getting the millions and millions. Someone else is. But we're the ones working for it.
Yes. I listened to something there, David, and they want to kill this fella from Jamaica. What was his name again?
Beanie Man.
Beanie Man. They want to kill him because statements. We have been making our statements years ago. You understand? And it's a fact. They don't like the truth. You understand?
No, but look at the passion within which it was defended. And you know what it brings to mind as well? Okay, who brews the rum in this country? Angostura and Fernandez. It's white people who own those establishments, right?
Yes.
But when a black man, Michael B. Jordan, came out with the Juve rum, African people in Trinidad say, no, that's our Juve. No, you can't use that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. White people who are part of a 1% in Trinidad who own and control Angostura and Fernandez are making huge money off African misery. And a black man who probably ancestors came across either on a similar or different slave ship to yours, you fighting against him. Now, I'm against all of the rum. But understand my point. We have this blind illusion thinking that we're part of a social group that we are not part of. And we're the only people who are programmed to reject it. Reject our own consciousness. Reject our own upliftment. And my question regarding the lecture tomorrow is, does our black consciousness simply disappear around carnival time?
I was telling our brother this morning, I say, what happened? He's speaking about something. Listen to me. You have to go back on the plantation. You have to always go back to see where that hate started. You know. We against ourselves. You have to see that and it's coming all the way up the road, and we don't understand this. But if you imagine, years ago, you used to talk about bread and bacon shark, a bacon saltfish, a bacon fish. You're not that. But the equation completely is all the African telling us again, and it's limited. If you go with a nice bake and shark what you sell next to the man, you eat it yourself. You won't get that finance from it. And when I hear promoting it, The psychological is being promoted on the radio, on the TV, and on the radio. You know, what a beautiful, young, nice-looking African youth being interviewed. And you're listening to her, something so positive. And then the man can ask her, what about this food? She said, you know, I had one this morning. It take me 8 o'clock yet, you know. 7 o'clock in the morning. I had one here and I had one in the morning. They promoted it and we I don't know how to describe the state that we are in as a people, you know. And it's hurting because it's passing from the one generation to another generation to another generation, you know. When you were in this country, we were all the bakers in this country, we were all the bakeries in this country.
Yeah.
We were the pharmacists, druggists in this country. We owned them, you understand? We were the builders, the constructors, everything in this country. And they see today that people are saying that we are at the bottom of the ladder, and we are stepping that and not asking how we came at the bottom of the ladder. When our fathers, you understand, were builders, were constructors, in Bataria, you know. We had Ford. Ford was the first car dealer with spare parts in this country. Where's Ford now? Some Indian people own places, garage and all this kind of stuff. This Ford had the Bronx and the place burned down cars inside it. Where are they? The children and they, and our generation walk out of that business, and that is why we are where we are today. So I think when it's conscious what is going on, it hurts you because we know from generation to generation it's getting worse.
Yep.
Using it every year, and you know we ever talk about inclusion. Indians are our brothers, Chinese are our brothers, the Cockney are our brothers. It's only we.
And nothing is wrong with that, but we are not each other's brothers. So how can I fight to make this race my brothers, and that race my brothers, and the other race my brothers, but my own real brothers are not my brothers?
Are not my brother.
And they encourage us to think that way.
And we keep on, and
we fall for it.
Because of our ignorance of not being conscious, we accept it. We include everybody in everything that we have here. In the calypso, the pan, everything. We have everybody. And after when they learn it, and they get into it now, you understand? You understand the making of it, you understand? You're in trouble. Because you can't get in there, you know, the money question. But anyway, I want to make their contribution. So long I haven't spoken to you.
Yes,
and it'd be a wonderful thing to hear you and be able to speak to you in a moment. Because in this program, I can get something, you understand? Other than the program, you take a number and they cut you off. But it don't matter, maybe consciousness is consciousness. And once you're aware of who you are, you understand? They can't take this away from you, understand? The brother is on our program. I don't go for it. There's a lady some time ago, she called on our program and she said, listen, how come the African snail is a white and brown, but they call it African snail? You understand? You understand where she's going from? Everything negative. The alliance with Africa. The bees,
like the Africanized killer bees, yeah.
Killer bees, Africanized killer bees, you understand? And then they go in, and you know, whether they be a mess in this world. They're doing the medicine. I mean, they do the medicine. They study it, and they go down in Africa and see everything start down there, you know. But before I go, I want to say something. There was a young lady that had me in a discussion. I can't remember what it was about. And she asked me, she said, there's a movie called Elysium. Have you ever seen it? I said, no. She said, Elysium is a movie where these rich people living somewhere out in space out there, some place they found up there, and they're living out there. And you know what they have? No human. It's robots they are working for them. I said, listen to me. We are this already. And you see what is the AI? But have a wonderful day, my brother. Nice speaking with you.
Thank you, my brother.
I dropped 2 plants yesterday for your wife. I'm just going to plant it. And a ruku.
Yes, sir.
Yep,
thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Three 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you this morning, sir? Hello?
Sorry?
I said, how are you this morning?
I am fine by God's grace, thank you. I hope you are also.
We say thank God for that. So we all are, because we can have a conversation this morning.
Yes.
I heard I just came in and turned on the radio, because my radio station sometimes don't, and heard that blacks against blacks. But we living and you know, the conversation about being a man, that's what made me call the doubles. And I asked the question, not now, years ago. And this has nothing, and people are going to turn this into something, because if you go along with your conversation, it is going to be a racist thing, because then you're looking to put a group of black people together, and that can't happen, you know, that's being racist. Anytime you decide to do that, you're considered a racist.
Exactly. That's part of our national culture, to look at African consciousness as if it is against the national development ideology.
All right, so then so this issue about doubles, I told them I grew up in the market. The first doubles man I know in the market was a man named Blacks. First doubles man I know selling in Port of Spain in the market was a man named Blacks. At that time, a doubles match was 25 cents or 50 cents. And he would stand up there from 5 in the morning till 10 o'clock, and he mightn't sell out. And one or two, long ago, I tell people what I know for breakfast on a morning. You go down the road, you get a bake saltfish, bacon shark, or a Bajan man would do a saltfish that he ain't frying it. I don't know how this Bajan man doing this saltfish. But when this man don't cook this saltfish, when he boil it and season it with the onion and thing, you can't eat this. You can't beat this saltfish. And all of a sudden, we of our own selves promote doubles because we want inclusion. So we decide we include them into the thing, and we decide doubles is now part of our culture. Isn't it so? Because we consider ourselves a cosmopolitan society, so we decide to include everything. But we include everything, but everybody don't include us. One simple example, we have an issue. What is does Trinidad have a culture that everybody adheres to? Do we? Because anytime you talk about culture of Trinidad and Tobago, we see one race. They identify the culture. If it's steel band and pan, just like we want to put pan on our coat of arms, they want inclusion. Because pan, if you include pan, that means you include one race. So anytime you include one race, you have to include the Aborigines, and you have to include the Indians. So you have to make. How are we going to move our society when our society do not see ourselves as one?
Yeah.
Mr. Manning said when Satmara opened a radio station and everybody was making noise and be proud. Because of that is what have we in this mess that we in here, because we have a group of people who want to promote their ideology and their culture. Nothing is wrong with that. But at the end, they don't accept the culture of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah. Caller, let me say this to you, that this morning you have spoken a refreshing wisdom. I know we don't always see eye to eye when in discussions with each other, but I'm proud of your perspective and your observations.
My perspective has always, and thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir. And
my perspective has always been that black people, we ask ourselves, and I keep telling them, man, we had all the bakeries and we had all the Ford motor car, Ford on the main road.
But let me say this to you though, in tongue in cheek, as we conclude this part of our discussion. This is going so well, right? This conversation
march is being brought to you.
That I don't want to spoil it by asking you your views on the new Prime Minister to be. But we have a break.
Hey, I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump, cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me rum my shit. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, 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 take out your flag and fling it up, take out something and fling it up. Something and fling it up. just easy. We party, no enemies. No need for carry talk. This one no be politics. Imagine no request, pepe. Sound up for me. I see girls, I see fun. I see winding up in the sun. I see bumpers rolling around, bouncing back like a drum. I see mass in the place. I see girls they winding their waist. I see trouble all in their face. They say them ready for carnival.
Hello, Davido, what you say?
If you come to party, hands up in the sky. Hey, hey, hey. Take out your flag and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up. Fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, hey, hey. Start to jump up and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up. Fling it up. We living up with life. Yeah. Baby, turn up for me. Come show your colors for me. And put your hands up for me. We party through the night. Baby, turn up for me. Come show your colors for me. And put your hands up for me. Hey, baby, turn up for me. Take out your flag and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up.
That road march was brought to you by Royal Castle. Our culture, our taste.
All right, so I had 2 callers online. My apologies for the abrupt ending there. But let's continue to take your calls. 342-0081 and 466-5391. Reminding you, tomorrow morning I'm doing a lecture at the Kwame Ture Center entitled The Economics of African Culture. And it's looking at how others make money off our talent, the exploitation of African culture, the even in many cases prevention of the expansion of African business initiatives. And it's, trust me, it's such a huge subject. It's a subject that goes so far and so wide because there's hardly a place, hardly a form of music. Do you realize that every single form of black music has been stolen, repackaged, remarketed, disguised? I mean, going all the way back to the Beatles, to Eric Clapton. Don't talk about the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees, all the way up to Madonna. And even when you look at forms of music such as calypso and reggae, you would think, wow, well, certainly calypso and reggae are Caribbean-based African art forms. But again, the people that made the most money off calypso and reggae have been European peoples. Okay, so it is such a consistent pattern. All right, so 342-0081 and 466-5391 as we go into this season of Carnival. I'm just asking us to remain conscious. Caller, good morning.
Blessed morning to you, Brother David.
Greetings, sir.
Yeah. Now, we, as history is showing, we have been our own enemies for a very long time. And quote unquote, you see the abolition of slavery or the dismantling or the ending of slavery is just a myth in the minds of Africans.
I hear you.
The whole economic system is still based on Europeans. Africans do not have any major business. They don't, let me say, strive forward to that reality. Because even in our own communities, we just bust we own shop and go on and buy by the Chinese and the Indians, if you understand what I'm showing you now. The kind of hatred that we have for our own self, we will trust out the African man shop and go by the Chinese and buy full cash. This is how we have it. The hatred that is dwelling within Africans must end someday, sometime. It must end. We must face the reality that we are one. There is nobody else to carry us forward but ourselves. No Indian, no Chinese, no European man will say, come go forward, Africans.
Yeah. Because
we watching the Chinese and the Russians going into Africa. Yes. They are helping Africans, yes. But what else? All the mineral resources are going.
Oh. Caller, okay. Seems like the call has been interrupted by another call, but thank you for raising that. Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I don't think you have very long.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Yes. Everything concerned black is a negative to the other race. When I watching news, I just hear other races saying, like the government want Lavantil to become like Haiti. Everything concerned black is always a negative. But they want to be like the black man, but they can't tolerate the black man. And I get to realize too, when you ask some young black ladies in this country, the first thing that's come out of their mouth, I don't need a black man, I don't need a man, I can help myself. Well, and that's the most dangerous thing.
Have you heard women say they don't need a black man in particular?
No, a black man, as they're working, they don't need no man.
Oh, right, okay.
So, and I say, why you say that? Hey, the first thing they put in the brain that or you're man lazy, or you have no ambition, or you don't know what you want.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, you're correct in what you're saying, but unfortunately, many of us are kind of, lazy and don't know what we want and out of focus. So we do, as men, as brothers, need to shape up that aspect.
Hello?
Of it. Yes, you're on still. That's something that needs to be addressed.
Yes, it needs to be addressed because we have to come together. Because if we don't, it's going to be very dangerous.
Yes, sir.
In years to come. Because if we don't unite, because a lot of past leaders who our ancestors now give us the blueprint.
Yeah.
But we're not reading it.
Yep.
Men like Marcus Garvey, men like Malcolm X, they give us the blueprint.
Yep.
And still, we live.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the Street 919 FM.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over